This is the Big Deal Podcast, brought to you and powered by New Covenant Baptist Church in Albertville, Alabama. And on this podcast, we're asking the question, what's the big deal about all things Bible, theology, and culture? I'm Justin.
I'm Brad.
Welcome to the Big Deal. How you doing, man?
Super duper.
Super duper.
How you doing?
I'm good. So, dear listeners, we just want to let you know about a challenge we got going on. So you can hold us accountable. We've put this out there on live and on the air. It's in the airwaves, the radio waves.
Yes, it's the covenant.
Or the internet waves. I don't really know how that stuff works.
I don't know how. It's all magic to me.
It's just little fairies
the fact that
and
you
stuff.
can carry around like a little 3 by 6 inch phone anywhere on the planet Earth nearly and talk to people. If I found out it was a secret cabal of wizards that made that stuff and it was not really technology, I would be like, well, that makes more sense. Like magic makes more sense to me.
It's bananas.
It is.
So we have a covenant, Brad and I. We have decided for the next 14, 15 weeks, whatever it is, until Memorial Day, we are going to lose 15 pounds.
Yes.
Yeah. So like you're gonna watch every week. You're gonna see these episodes
waste away,
and you're gonna watch us melt and waste away and turn into
so that
skeletons.
I can run fast as greased lightning,
and so I can look super sexy.
Oh my goodness! I cannot wait until I can run fast.
Yeah. I am going to probably not try to run fast. I just don't really care about running fast.
I have to run fast. They test me all the time.
I really don't want to die of
that's what I tell people when
heart
I'm running.
Disease and diabetes.
People always
and
say
stuff,
well, if you see me running and something's after me, that kind of joke. You know what I always say? I say I'm running because something's after me.
Death.
And they go, what? Death. What are you running from?
Yeah.
Death.
No, it's not anything about against running. I just don't like it. It's like I've done it. I've done a lot of it, and I hate it. But it's like so efficient, man. It's like one of the most efficient exercises you can do.
I think people hate running. I used to hate it. I think people hate it because they try and run too fast.
Oh, you've told me that. I need to try running slow. I know. I just don't.
Just cruise.
So
man.
Earlier this morning, I was like doing some of my cardio, and I was like, what's the difference between walking and running? Like, I'm going to walk for 40 minutes. Or I'm running for 20 minutes. It's about the same.
I used to do this. Part of my workout was to put the treadmill all the way up, whatever the incline was.
Yeah.
And for 30 minutes, you walked at like 4 miles an hour.
Dude, that'll burn it up.
Burn it up.
Yeah.
I would much rather run the 5K.
Yeah.
On a flat ground.
Yeah. I did a couple miles walking. That's fine.
I run now when I'm just cruising. I'll run 4 miles and I'll run like 950 miles.
Oh, that's good.
And when I'm done, my heart rate's like at 150. And I can just walk to my truck. I'm not like gasping and I just want to cruise.
Yeah.
I just want to keep my heart rate up for like 40 minutes, 35 minutes. And if I get in 2.5, 3 miles and I'm like, I ain't feeling it, I just go back to the truck.
Yeah.
Because another day will come and
It'll
I'll
be
run
okay.
good.
Yeah, you feel good that day.
Valentine's Day, I ran a 5K in like 29:30. That was the hardest I'd tried in a long time.
That's a good 5K.
Yes, for 50 years old, it's not bad.
Man. Yeah, that's
great.
great.
And I felt great.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. And that's why I ran fast. Mm-hmm. It was not because I did not set out on that run to like run fast. I set out just to run.
To run a 5K.
And I was like, oh, I feel good. So I picked it up and I kept feeling good. And I thought, I'm going to see how fast I can push this 5K out.
Yeah.
And I just finished up. It was 29:30 something. And I thought, wow, that's great. But sometimes I get out there and run and I cut it off at 2 miles and my calves are hurting.
Yeah.
Or got something funky with
my
ankle.
It's so weird, isn't it? Yeah.
And it makes, there's no predicting it.
Yeah.
Well, there is. The number one prediction sign. How much long has it been since I ran?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. When I ran that 5K, I had been busy. And I hadn't run as much that week, so I had run in like 4 days.
Dude.
Oh, I felt like $1 million.
Yeah,
it is so easy to overtrain.
Yeah,
so easy.
I took a week off 2 weeks ago from the gym, and I went in on chest day, and I repped out 10, 8, and 6, however many for 24 reps of 185 on the bench.
Look at you.
And like,
by the way, we're natural.
And could have gone, could have done more. Honestly, I could have done more, but I knew I would do incline. I had to do it most of the time. I didn't want to kill myself.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, I am so stinking strong today. It's because I took a week off,
Yeah.
It's kind of wild like that.
You're undercook, overcook.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like there's two great mistakes people make in exercise. Mm-hmm. They don't do it. That's the first mistake. Mm-hmm. And the second mistake is they overdo it.
Yep.
It's really hard to hit that sweet spot where you only get stronger when you rest. Yeah. And when you're like trying to get in better shape, you rush it. Yeah, and then it's miserable. Yeah, and you quit.
They're going to change their whole body in a week or a month. It's going to take you years.
I have worked out now for 5 years with free weights and running, and I'm just now getting to where no one will notice. Nobody looks
you just look like moderately healthy.
I look like a healthy guy. Yeah. I keep waiting. I keep waiting to hit that spot where people start asking me if I'm juicing, and I'm just not there yet.
I just want someone to ask.
I want somebody to be like, "Hey, man, what are you taking?"
What are you taking?
I'll be like, "I had a Monster Energy drink."
Yeah.
That's it.
Sweat and tears, pal.
Creatine. Yeah. It's 5 years of looking in the mirror underneath that squat bar saying my mantra.
Yeah.
I do not want to do this. I say this to myself every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you taking? Depression.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're gonna lose this weight, and we have a there's a payoff at the end, isn't there?
Yeah. If one of us loses and the other one doesn't, the one who doesn't have to buy steaks for both.
Yeah. But if we both make it,
we get to buy our own steak.
We buy our own steak, but we got to go somewhere awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna go somewhere cool,
somewhere good,
some like real
Outback.
Good steaks, like Outback. Yeah, I actually wouldn't be upset about Outback.
I love Outback.
Yeah.
I've been to Ruth's Chris. I've been to
Big Mike's.
Sullivan's.
Big Mike's is the best.
That's where we should go.
That's the best restaurant steak I've ever had. Actually.
We should go there. Yeah. And it's reasonable.
It's
like
not
$100.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
If I lose 15 pounds and I'm running around at 180, we're going to go eat that steak.
Oh, yeah.
And then
100%.
And then get back on the scale like, I'm 190 again. What just happened?
Yeah. So y'all keep us accountable, man. Watch us. Look at us.
Keep us in your prayers.
Keep us in your prayers. We're going to be hungry.
Oh, my goodness. Hangry.
Yeah. So we're in Exodus finishing up. Well, I say finish. It's not really finishing, but there is probably one more block of law giving that we're going to kind of look at today. And so the Ten Commandments came, and then there's this block of law about fairness, you know, and we camped out on a lot of that last week, and just some of the stranger parts, or what seems strange, the parts that if you're reading through the middle chapters of Exodus, and you might come across some of these chapters and be like, what does this mean? What's this about? And that's what we're kind of camping on. There's a lot of this stuff that just makes sense. It's just, what fairness looks like, justice, taking care of poor people, things like that. And so in chapter 23, we're going to skip this first part because it's laws about honesty and justice. Well, be honest, be just, right? That's basically
So of all those fairness laws, let me just ask you this. Do any of them strike you as like, we don't follow this principle, it makes me uncomfortable? Of any that we've gone over? Because most of them seem like common sense.
Yeah, no, they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the only thing that strikes me, I was thinking about this past week. I was thinking about it Sunday when you were preaching. The only thing that strikes me sometimes is the punishment, like that it's death. Death is the punishment. And I remember last week when we were reading through it, I was like, man, this one, you die if you do this, you die if you do that, you die if you do that.
Yeah.
And there's like a little part of me that's like, man, golly, that's intense. But then I was thinking yesterday during church, I was like, of course it's death. Of course it is. Like have we not forgotten that the wages of sin is death?
Yeah.
Like I
mentioned that in my sermon.
We take Paul when Paul says that in Romans, and we kind of ideologicalize it or something.
That's exactly what you're some big word like that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We turn it into just like an idea. It's like just a theology thing. Wages of sin is death, right? You deserve death or whatever. But some people you want to pull that punch.
Yeah.
It's like get real quick to Jesus taking your death or whatever. But like, let that sink in. No, you actually deserve to die.
Yes.
Yeah. You deserve to die.
And until you come to the place where you recognize that, like actually think,
yep.
not only should I die? But like, it would be right.
Yeah, because
then you can't be saved.
I know when we hear Paul say, "Wages of sin is death," we think sin is pretty bad, right? Sin is bad.
Yeah,
we don't. God doesn't like sin. We don't want to sin no more. No, you should die.
You should die.
I should die.
Yes,
I should have been killed.
That is my confession.
Put down.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things you read the law. Like a lot of people come to the law, maybe skeptical people, people that got a chip on their shoulder, and they come to the Mosaic Law and they're like, "Man, everything is die. You got to die for everything. Like you do this, you die."
Yeah.
And they say things like the punishment outweighs the crime.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, no,
No.
Every one of them. It's death. It actually should be. Every time it doesn't say you should die, you just a little glimpse of mercy. That's a little mercy right there.
I know.
If it says you don't have to die, you just got to pay someone back. Oh, that's a mercy, actually.
Yeah, I want to be clear about what I said though. When I said, if you can't confess that you deserve death, and agree with it, you can't be saved because you've not reached the place of conviction where you will actually cry out for the kind of mercy you need.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
That's why you can live in joy.
Yep.
Because I should be dead.
Yeah.
It's why every time I get up and preach and it's a bad sermon, I think, look, I should be dead.
Yeah,
this was
I just should be dead.
For free.
Yeah.
I can't believe anybody came back.
Yeah. For sure. That's and so I think that's the only thing that's kind of shocks me when I read through the law is like, but it's not a bad shock. It's like a shock to my senses and reminder of what sin, what the cost of sin really is, and also it helps me remember what and give me better appreciation what Jesus did, on the cross.
I think the ones that like bug me, or not bug, that I think, man, we should probably think about this, is how often it talks about taking care of aliens and sojourners and widows and orphans, and not charging interest.
Yeah,
those are like some things I think, maybe.
No, yeah, because I think like our little culture here around in the United States, number one, all of the help stuff we have we've handed that off to the government.
Yeah,
we don't have to help people.
No,
we expect the government to take care of widows, orphans, vulnerable people. We expect them to take care of refugees and immigrants and deal with them too, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much. Like, this is on them. When we were in Dallas, there's a huge refugee community there from Syria.
Yeah.
And it's one of the biggest refugee cities in the world. And they had an entire neighborhood. Neighborhood is like, if you hear me say neighborhood, you're going to think too small. This was
it's like the Somalian people in Minneapolis.
It's very similar.
It's a whole city.
It's basically it's a city inside of a city.
Yes.
And that was devoted to this whole like vast apartment complex area, like small city of apartment complexes, was devoted to these refugees, and they come in, and the U.S. government gives them some aid and helps them out. And they're expected to have the English language mastered in like 6 months and be able to get jobs and all this kind of stuff. And most people assumed in that area, around that area, in the towns and Dallas Metroplex, that those people were just taken care of by the government. But they actually weren't. Like, they were given 6 months of aid and told to, figure it out after that.
Good luck.
And so, obviously, things got really bad really quickly. And so, who steps in? Churches. Yeah. There's like all these centers, refugee centers and stuff that these churches have established. We always once a month, like we volunteered at one, our youth group and stuff did. And it's really cool. It's a really good thing to do, helping them out. But it was churches that took up the burden, as it ought to be. Like, you shouldn't assume that the government is going to be in charge of those things or do them well. Yeah. Like, you should definitely not assume they're going to do them well.
No.
And what was a group that you mentioned? You said the
tax, like usury. Interest, charging interest.
I know
it's constant. Dude. Like, don't charge them interest. Or if a poor person gives you his cloak for surety, like you go somewhere. So this haven't happened in years, but like you forget your money in your wallet. You used to could leave like your driver's license and go home and get your money and come back. That they'd know you were coming back, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of like what was happening here. It was like don't. If you take your neighbor's cloak as a pledge, like they say, I'll do this. And you're like, well, you have to give me your cloak or I won't trust you, because people had like one cloak.
Yeah.
And God was like, if you do that before dark, you have to give it back, because he has to sleep in that thing.
Yeah.
And he can give it back to you the next day, but at night he gets to get his cloak back.
Yeah.
And it's like, and if your brother needs to borrow some money, it is abominable to charge a brother interest. Like, what is wrong with you?
I know it.
And man,
dude, our whole culture runs on interest.
We do.
We run on interest.
We
do. Yeah.
I do not charge interest in any loans I make.
I make zero loans.
I had a preacher tell me once a long time ago. I can't remember who it was. He said, never loan more money than you're willing to give away, and you'll be fine. And I don't even ask for money back ever.
Yeah.
If I've loaned somebody money, I don't ask them, when are you gonna pay me back?
I don't think I've ever loaned anyone any money.
Really?
No one's ever asked.
Can I borrow some money?
You don't have to borrow it. I just give it to you.
Yeah, that's right. I've loaned money to people, and I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no one's ever asked me for money like that.
I sold a car, no interest.
You did.
Yeah, just let them pay it back whenever they want. I've done stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to run afoul of the wrath of God.
No, you don't want to take advantage of people, man.
No.
And if they're asking to borrow money for you, they're probably pretty vulnerable.
They're messed up.
If they're coming to me, they're super vulnerable.
If
Dude,
they're
they're
coming
like in
to
a bad
me,
situation.
Well, first of all, they don't need much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's get into chapter 23. I want to skip down past the honesty and justice parts, because it's like stuff like do not take a bribe, right? For a bribe blinds the clear-sighted. I mean, it's obvious, like this is fairness issues, you know.
Somebody read that and went, oh, man.
Yeah. Oh, I can't take bribes. Like, come on, dude. What are you doing? And
by the way,
yeah.
This you say that, but businesses run on bribery.
What do you mean by
Oh,
that?
absolutely.
Yeah. What do you mean?
They do.
Yeah.
So I was in Louisiana.
Okay.
And some of these, I knew a guy who had a business that was basically a subcontractor. These big machines would break, and these huge companies wouldn't fix them. They would send them out to these smaller places to fix them. And they had their reps for these large corporates that would go around to these businesses who would fix their stuff, these big pumps and stuff.
Okay.
And they basically bribed those guys.
Really?
They'll set up hunting clubs and invite them out to hunting clubs, and they'll give them, they'll let them have four-wheelers to ride around. I knew one guy that was trying to get in with this one company, and he let this dude hunt on his big hunting lease, and he let him borrow his four-wheeler, and the dude loaded up in his trailer and took it, and they never saw it again. And this next thing you know, he gets $1 million contract to fix these pumps, you know.
Wow.
And that kind of stuff goes on a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. Like,
Is it, there's where do you draw the line between I'm trying to drum up business and I just took out all the CEOs of this company I want to sell software to, and I paid for them a $9,000 meal. I bought them a $9,000 meal. Is that bribery?
I don't know. I don't think it's bribery. It's like,
or how about
incentivizing bribery?
Man, it's close, man.
Well,
it's kind of like
I just wonder about when it comes to bribery. Is it like what are you trying to accomplish with it? You know, like if you're like trying to get like a business deal, and you're like, you take the guy to golf, and you're trying to like build a relationship. Trying to build a business relationship or something. Like, I don't think that's bribery. But if you're a senator, and you're taking bribes
but if there's
from like Big Pharma or something to to like put
skew data,
or put forth legislation that's favorable to you.
But I mean, like if you got two guys in the metal fabricating industry, and one guy's like, you come do business with me, I'll let you hunt in my hunting club, and I'll buy you meals every month and do all this stuff, and the other guy doesn't offer that stuff, it's not really about the business at that point. Because this sales rep is just representing a company. I don't know. There's some fine lines there.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. You're paying for it, though. It's like, here's what I think I see is like, a bribery is paying for something that you're not supposed to be able to buy with money, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Favor, opportunity, things like that. You're not supposed to be able to buy this with money, right? And but yet you are.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if that makes sense or not.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't. It's the burden is on the guy accepting the bribe, right? So if you got, if I'm working for Jones Fabrications and I'm a multi-billion-dollar company and I'm trying to find subcontractors to fix my stuff, and I just pick the contractor who greases my pocket the most, even though it might not be the most advantageous for my company, that's probably a bribe.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyways.
It seems okay to me. I don't know. Maybe I do need to camp out on that.
Maybe you need to think about bribes some more.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go down to let's skip that part.
Yeah, that part bothers me. Let's go to another.
Yeah, it doesn't. That's the problem. It doesn't bother me actually.
Man.
You're autonomous business. I don't know. Like you're not committing any injustice because you prefer one contractor over another.
Yeah,
you know,
just because they bribe you.
Yeah, so they pay you more. Like that's why you're using them anyways.
Yeah, but you're already being paid by your company.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Yeah, I don't know. You have to talk with me about that more.
Yeah.
All right. So you did verse 10, and you get some interesting stuff about time.
Yeah.
So sow your land for 6 years and gather its produce. This is talking about farming. Sowing isn't like needle and thread. This is putting out
seed.
Yeah, putting out seeds. But during the 7th year, you are to let it rest and have it uncultivated, so that the poor among you, the poor among your people, may eat from it, and the wild animals may consume what they leave.
Yeah.
Do the same with your vineyard and your olive grove. What's the deal about that, man?
You give the land a Sabbath.
Everything gets a Sabbath.
Yes, and obviously Monsanto was not invented yet because because it's so weird. Like
they explain what Monsanto is.
Okay, they make seeds genetically made to have a more bountiful harvest. So, if you went back in time and you got some corn, the Native Americans had the maize. Like your corn on the cob would be like half the size. You wouldn't get near the stuff. So we
kind of weird looking now.
What happens is, even with tomatoes and everything now, unless you get something called an heirloom variety, if you get a regular old tomato that's heat resistant, drought resistant, all that stuff, it's a hybrid from several different, tomatoes or a couple different. Well, it won't grow back. You can't save seed
sterile.
on it. It's sterile. Yeah. Seedless watermelons, same way. Yeah. And so back in the old days, there was no cross hybrids. So if you didn't get every single piece of wheat or whatever died would come back.
Yeah,
so
it'd be out there in the field the next year.
The next year they would have wild
uncultivated wheat and stuff.
That
tomatoes
would never happen today.
No, man. No, we just fertilize. Just keep on fertilizing. Just turn it up.
Yeah. Well,
I know we plant other stuff.
What I mean is you wouldn't, if you didn't grow corn one year, you would not have corn the next year.
Yeah.
Nothing would come up.
Yeah.
Because it's sterile.
Yeah.
No,
I get you.
Back in the old days, it would.
But we also don't rest the land in the same way, too.
No. We do crop rotation.
Yeah.
But we don't, because like corn's very nitrogen dependent.
Yeah.
And then you plant soybean or wheat after it, and they put it back in the ground. So, you rotate crops. And God talks about that.
Yeah.
That's why the South became a dust bowl. It's because we tried to grow cotton every single year, and we destroyed the ground.
Yeah.
It's very intensive and
interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the ground gets a rest. Mm-hmm. Then the next part is do your work for 6 days, but rest on the 7th day. So this is back to the Sabbath.
Yeah.
So that your ox and your donkey may rest. Yeah. And the son of your female slave, as well as the resident alien, may be refreshed. So.
See, there's some aliens again.
Yeah. The immigrants, everyone gets a rest. Even your ox and donkey get a rest.
Yeah.
The immigrants get a rest. You get a rest. Your female slaves get a rest. Everyone gets a rest.
We're just talking about this, even working out. If you don't have a rest day, you're going to die.
Yeah. Yep. And then you get another in verse 14. Celebrate a festival in my honor 3 times a year. Observe the festival of unleavened bread as I command you. And you are to eat unleavened bread for 7 days at the appointed time in the month of Abib, because you came out of Egypt in that month. No one is to appear before me empty-handed. Also observe the festival of harvest with the first fruits of your produce from what you sow in the field, and observe the festival of ingathering at the end of the year when you gather your produce from the field. 3 times a year, all your males are to, well, that's another thing. So let's, you have these 3 festivals, unleavened bread, harvest, and ingathering, right? That's talked about here. And they have like these 7s involved with them, don't they?
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. Like there's just a pattern that the Lord is.
They had a liturgical calendar.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is
a very strict one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And so something I think,
but it was based around the agricultural cycle.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I think something that's important to think about here is like God is like a kind of establishing something called sacred time. There's time to be set aside for things.
Yeah.
It's like his rule is that time is not your own. You know, you have to stop because I say so.
He's very interested in you resting.
Yeah, he is. He's telling them to have festivals.
I know.
That's nice.
Have a party.
Yeah, have a holiday, man.
We're going to have parties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. That's pretty neat, isn't it? Yeah.
God loves a party.
He does. He loves it when we party, right?
Yeah. He, John's gospel, it's concentrates only on 7 miracles of Jesus, right?
Yeah.
It's 7 big miracles.
Yeah.
And at the end of John, he says, if we had recorded everything that Jesus did, the whole world wouldn't contain the books, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, man. So it's very important the 7 he chooses. If he has a whole world full of books.
Yeah.
And what's the first miracle he picks?
The water to wine.
Water to wine at a wedding.
At a wedding party.
Because God loves a good party.
Yeah. Those signs are interesting.
Hey.
Yeah, in John. Yeah.
Don't tell any of the other Baptists this.
What?
It was real wine.
It was real wine.
Was 100% real wine.
It's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
Stupidest thing ever.
It's like, y'all ever heard this? If you're listening and you've heard this sometime, if you grew up in the rural South or something,
Bartender Jesus.
Prohibition just like leaked out for decades, man, and just kind of like washed out our entire culture.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what happened.
What happened?
Because I'm old enough to know people from Prohibition. They're all mostly dead now.
How old are you?
I'm so old. I mean, I'm 50, so that's
Back in my day.
74. So let's
yeah.
say when I was 10 in 84, it was a 50-year-old guy there. Well, he's born in 34, right?
Yeah.
So I actually, my great-grandmother was born in 1891, and I talked to her. Like, we had talks. She lived to be 100 almost.
Yeah.
And so anyway, everybody was a bunch of drunks.
Yeah.
We were moonshining up here like nobody's business. My people made corn liquor straight up.
Yeah.
And everybody was drunk all the time. So Prohibition was a reaction from a legitimate problem.
Yeah.
People were abusing alcohol a lot.
Yeah.
And so
it was like the Sunday school union.
Yes.
Right? Isn't that the group, one of the group that started the Prohibition movement?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, what? So like even Southern Baptists are known to be teetotalers. A lot of them.
What does that mean?
Teetotalers means you don't drink alcohol.
Yeah. No, zero alcohol.
Yeah,
it's actually sinful to drink alcohol.
It's not like I have a problem with drinking, but it's like not only do I not drink, but you should not drink.
Yeah.
Either.
And when you say we're traditionally that,
tradition that if you think of people who were teetotalers, Southern Baptists were the guys. Billy Sunday and Moody and all those guys. I don't know that he was a Southern Baptist, but he was a Baptist. Yeah. Fundamentalist, Baptist-y.
There's a lot of them.
A lot of them. Yeah. So, but what's funny is they weren't always that way.
No.
Because the founder of Southern Seminary, Boyce, James Boyce, they used to write letters to each other.
Yeah.
And because they didn't have Twitter and stuff. And he'd be like, hey, Dr. Boyce, when you come down, bring us some of that Kentucky bourbon. That would be great. Yeah. And so all these guys are talking about that. And something happens in the early 1900s, and suddenly the whole thing's flipped, and there are a bunch of...
Yeah.
And so what happened was a lot of people, they had revivals and stuff, and people got saved, and drunkenness was a sin.
Yeah.
And it is a sin.
It is, yeah.
And so they thought... They just built a hedge around the law, man. They were like, look, we got all these people coming to our church, a bunch of drunks. We need to stay away from this demon liquor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get away from that corn liquor.
So that's where Prohibition came. And it just 100%. Kind of, and it is hung around, man. Mm-hmm. And so
it's going away.
It is going away.
Pretty soon everybody will be a bunch of drunks again. We'll have to fall back off the horse
for
on
sure.
Side.
Yeah. It's a pendulum thing. That happens. Like, everyone was fine. And then, like, the stinking Americans get all drunk, and then everyone's like, okay,
they had the problem in England, too. They called it the gin years or whatever, the gin and tonic back when Whitfield was around.
Is that right?
People were drinking gin so much more than water.
Oh my goodness.
It's crazy. Yeah, look it up, man. I'm telling you right now.
Like cirrhosis.
Yeah,
liver.
people just drunk all the time, wandering out in front of wagons.
Jaundicey looking.
He got run over by a horse.
Yeah.
Drunk driving his horse's carriage.
So what we were talking about, oh yeah, so sometimes like even today, like if you grew up around, in the South, like you probably went to a church, if you went to a church, they were probably teetotalers.
Yeah, probably.
They probably said things like, drinking alcohol is a sin. And they would get to this passage where Jesus, changed the water and wine in John 2 or 3.
It is
2.
John 2.
John 2, yeah. They get John 2 and they say, well, it wasn't real wine. It was grape juice. It was grape juice, right? And how does that not make sense? Why does that not make sense, Bram?
Well, I'll tell you, there's several reasons. One is at the end of it, the master of the ceremonies tastes it and he said, "This is the best."
Yeah.
And he knows what he's talking about. He wouldn't have said that for grape juice.
Yeah.
2 is grape juice was not a physical possibility until Mr. Welsh, the Methodist pastor, invented a way.
100 years ago.
100 years ago.
Yeah.
A little more than 100 now.
Yeah.
Invented a way to keep grape juice from fermenting. You could not stop it.
It's because the fermentation comes from something that's naturally occurring on the rind.
It's the sugars and the yeast.
Yeah.
It's going to start within 3 days. It starts to ferment. So, that's why it's not. They never would have thought that.
Yeah.
They never would have thought, "Oh man, this grape juice is delicious." And it also uses a word for wine.
Yeah, and in there's like several places in the New Testament where it's just like
it's oinos or something.
Yeah,
isn't it?
the wine.
It's just
like
wine.
They're drunk because they're drinking wine or whatever. Like it's like, and so
he tells Timothy to take wine for his stomach.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like linguistic gymnastics that has to take place for these people to make it. But even then, it doesn't work. Like,
just for the record, I used to be one of those guys.
You were a teetotaler?
They tricked me.
Oh, man.
And then I started reading the Bible. I went to seminary. And I was like, uh-oh, I'm starting to feel uncomfortable.
Our seminaries to this day, in the Southern Baptist Convention, like you cannot drink alcohol if you're enrolled as a student.
Yeah.
It's like it's one of the rules, man.
It is.
Yeah, you have to sign a covenant. When you enroll, like you're not allowed to drink alcohol.
And if you do, they found out in an IPA, they'll come snatch my diploma.
Yeah.
Come get it.
It's just kind of weird, man.
It's weird, man.
Yeah, it's like
we're gonna have to wait about 20 more years, though.
Yeah, we're not that kind of Baptist.
No, we're not that kind of Baptist.
No, we're not drunks either.
No,
but I do enjoy.
It's too much calories, dude.
A hop slim every once in a while.
Yeah, I am not gonna do that. It's too many calories.
Oh, no, it is.
It's
for
like,
sure.
what is
it's
it?
A calorie bomb.
7 calories per gram for alcohol.
Is that right?
It's something crazy. It's more than carbs.
Yeah,
dude.
no.
I think carbs are 7, and alcohol's like 4 or 5.
Most liquor, it's like 100 calories an ounce.
Yeah,
and a beer is like probably. All right, well, Bud Light or something that's like 100 or less.
Yeah, but it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Like an IPA is 7,000 calories a tablespoon.
An IPA is probably 400 calories.
Yeah.
They're
it's
delicious.
A calorie bomb.
They're delicious though.
It drinks like a meal.
Monkey knot.
Yeah.
Oh man. You
gotta be careful you sin against the Lord.
Yeah. I know I'm a one and done guy.
Yeah, well I know, but some of them is 10%.
Yeah, but still, it's like even at 10% is like.
Well, when you lose that 15 pounds, it's gonna make a difference.
Yeah, I might only be able to drink half of one hop slam. Yeah. I've never been drunk before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've never been.
Yeah, me. That's great. I wasn't always a Christian.
I wasn't either always a Christian.
You just behaved. The Lord preserved you even when you wasn't.
He did. Yeah, I don't know. I just never been drunk, and it's not been the thing for me.
Yeah, well, it's good for you.
How about you tell everyone about all your sins?
I have been drunk before, and and foolish, like so bad. Just you get drunk, throw up, like it will make you throw up. Yeah. You miserable.
It sounds like no fun.
It's absolutely horrible. The next day, your head is pounding because you're like dehydrated, you're nauseated, and when you get better. You talk about how much fun you had.
What in the world?
It's the stupidest thing.
So I've been around a lot of drunks. I've been around a lot of drunks.
Oh,
and
me too.
I hate it. Oh,
well,
I always hated it. As
the
a
only
kid,
people who like drunks are drunks.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. They're awful.
It's so annoying.
Yeah, super annoying, rude. Oh my gosh. So I think that's probably part of it.
I can only fix these sins with a time machine, man.
Yeah. So, anyways, God wants us to have these festivals, but don't go too crazy.
Don't go
folks.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But do we observe these festivals anymore? The unleavened bread, the harvest, the ingathering.
We, as in me and you?
Yeah, like
no.
Christians and stuff.
No,
we don't.
You could.
Really. I guess you could. Some people do. Some families do.
If I were raised Jewish and I became a Christian, I would probably do all these.
Yeah.
It's part of my heritage.
Yeah, heritage thing.
Now, if you started saying you got to keep these because they're the law of Moses, you're wrong.
Yeah.
But if it's like, this is part of my heritage, I'm keeping it, then they'd be like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'd go to Passover's house, to a Jewish friend's house.
We do this stuff too, though. Like, we have our holidays.
Yeah,
also.
we got Christmas and Easter's.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite references, too.
Yeah.
Nacho Libre. We're Nacho Libre 2 weeks in a row, man.
And Lent, some people observe Lent.
Yeah, Lent.
It's become more popular for Protestants to do Lent, I think.
In Advent.
Lent is the time between Pentecost and
Not
Easter.
Pentecost. Isn't it Epiphany?
I don't remember. I'm not careful. I thought it was the 50 days or something.
Yeah, Lent. When does Lent start?
It starts on it starts on Ash Wednesday, Mardi Gras.
It does, yeah, from March 5th.
What is March 5th? It's Ash Wednesday.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Which is what?
Let's look at the liturgical.
It's 50 days
calendar.
before the resurrection or something.
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
something like that. Liturgical calendar. Look at that big word, liturgical. What does that mean, Brad?
It comes from liturgy, which is basically your order of worship.
Yeah.
And so a liturgical calendar means that you should be thinking about certain things at certain times of the year.
I just want to chart people.
Come on.
Don't explain all your stuff to me.
So like if you're on like a Orthodox or a Roman Catholic calendar or something.
Oh, it's just called ordinary time. Weird. That's the Catholic version. The Anglican.
Ordinary time sounds like before they start daylight savings time. I had somebody text me the other day that said if I was running for president, they would vote for me.
Yeah, there is an ordinary time still with them too. So it goes Christmas, Epiphany, ordinary time, then Lent starts.
Yeah,
and then you get Triduum, something I don't know. Easter, then
Triduum.
Pentecost.
I thought that's what the
Triduum
warp engine run on.
Tritium.
Oh, it's dilithium.
Yeah, dilithium.
Tritium, something different.
That's so funny.
If we have any Orthodox people, they just had a stroke. They're coming up here to burn me at the stake. Like,
that's Anglican.
Stop it.
Yeah, not Orthodox.
Oh, they won't burn you at the stake.
Yeah.
They'll just go.
Do the Orthodox have a calendar too?
Oh yeah, their Easter's on a different day.
Yeah, that's right. They have a different day for Easter's. Yeah. Anyway, that's cool. So we do this stuff too. We have our own calendar. We do Advent and Advent leads up to Christmas. Lent leads up to Easter. We don't really do Lent around here though.
No, some people do. I see people do it. They'd like give up something for Lent.
Yeah, it's like a fasting kind of thing people do. Now, it's not a biblical thing. It's not like this isn't like something commanded from Scripture. But also, Christmas and Easter are not either.
No,
right? So when we talk about their festivals, this is the Lord saying, "Thus saith the Lord, do this festival."
In fact, early Protestants in the Reformation thought it was bad to celebrate Christmas and
is
Easter
that right?
and stuff. Yeah,
how about that?
They wouldn't do it.
Yeah, that's weird.
They wanted to get away from that popish calendar.
Yeah, they hated the calendar, and that's right, and the what is that stuff called?
Icons,
artifacts. But like what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, why can we not?
I know what is the name?
It's not sacraments. What do they call them things?
Gosh,
relics.
Relics.
Plus 50 to me.
Yeah, relics. That was a big deal.
It still is.
Yeah.
Relics are weird.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, I've never been to Rome, but like if you go, I've heard there's a lot of.
You don't have
stuff.
to go to Rome. They're everywhere, man.
Oh, yeah?
They got enough pieces of the cross to build a 50-foot skyscraper. That thing was huge. Yeah. I've seen dead saints. Yeah, I've seen some weird stuff, man. I'm like, what are we doing? I went to Rome. I saw them.
We are not doing it.
We are not doing that. I don't mind the calendar. Let's don't throw out everything. The calendar's pretty cool.
I like the calendar.
Yeah. I don't want to do relics.
Yeah.
I don't want some foot of a martyr.
So
in the church.
This is a good question to ask. Why is it okay to just make up our holidays and to celebrate them? because that's what we did. Jesus didn't tell
Yeah.
us to celebrate Easter or Christmas. Why is it okay for us to do that?
Because we're free. We can do whatever we want.
Because I bet some people who would hear that and be like, "That's not in the Bible. Like, why are we doing that?"
Yeah, why are we doing?
Because we're Bible people.
Well, it's good to have times of remembrance. Why you celebrate your birthday? The Bible don't tell you to celebrate your birthday.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're a Jehovah's Witness. Can't even celebrate your birthday. Can't even buy nobody no presents. Make up holidays so you can give each other. So you can have festivals.
Yeah.
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 Parties are fun, man.
Well, here's what I think too. Is like you're also not told when to meet on Sundays. You're not
what
told
time? No.
exactly what you even do on it.
It's implied that they met on Sundays in the New Testament, and we know the church did from the jump.
But it's
pretty
not
much.
thus saith the Lord.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And
In fact, they were meeting every day.
yeah, and there's a lot of what we do in like the tradition, like the capital T tradition.
Yeah.
That's not in the scriptures, but man, they were doing it pretty much immediately.
Yeah.
And so Christmas is one of those, and Easter is one of those.
Yeah.
And so if it's something that Christians have been doing for 2,000 years, like you might not want to go off the rails on that.
Yeah, I know it. That's what I always think. When somebody starts arguing about something that the church has agreed on for 2,000 years, if you find something that the Catholics and the Orthodox and the Baptists agree on, like, don't mess with that
Christmas, Easter.
thing. Yeah, like
Just leave it
Jesus
alone,
is
man.
God.
Yeah, Jesus is God. The
Well,
Trinity.
there is a
Yeah.
Trinity.
Yeah.
You should be baptized.
Yeah.
Now, we disagree on what that happens in there,
Yeah.
but, like, you should take the Lord's Supper.
Yeah, it's all there. We all agree on those things.
Yep.
Like, probably don't.
Now, not
argue
everybody
those
agrees
things.
what's happening when we
Yeah.
do those things, but we all think we ought to be doing them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, anyways, back to this Exodus thing. I think it's interesting about the time. God is like, He's allotting this sacred time for them to spend time with Him, on the Sabbath, and to rest from their labors.
And to hang out and party.
Hang out and party, festival.
Like, party for them was eat food.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, to feast.
If you had a feast, like, God was going to bless them so they could feast.
Yeah, feasting is good.
Yes.
If you feast every day, you're a glutton.
We take it for granted because you can literally feast in America anytime you want.
You can.
I feasted for lunch comparatively.
Yeah.
Like, I had a pork chop and a baked potato.
Man.
That's good, ain't it?
Yeah.
But I mean, nobody in Israel ever had a pork chop.
Yeah. I had a ham sandwich.
Both of us, bunch of goyim.
Yeah.
That means Gentile in Hebrew. Yeah. Because they weren't allowed to have
no pork.
They wouldn't have no pork, right?
I love pig, though.
Oh, my goodness. They didn't. The Lord came so we could have bacon.
Yeah.
Part of it.
ham. Golly, ham is
Oh, it's
wonderful.
so good.
So let's move on. You must not offer the blood of my sacrifices with anything leavened. What does that mean? The fat of my festival offering must not remain until morning. What is he talking about?
The leaven?
Yeah.
He don't like it.
You don't like it, man. You don't want to rise bread.
No. Well, we know in the Passover, when they did the Passover, he told them to make their bread, but don't put leaven in it because it won't have time to rise before you have to leave.
Yeah.
Because it takes about a day. I've made
Yeah.
bread. It takes about a day for
Yeah.
them. So there was, in Passover, it was about the urgency. I'm not sure why, but they have
And the same thing with the fat is like they weren't supposed to leave anything.
No, it
until
weren't.
the morning. So what
it.
the point of this is like this is part of the festival stuff. This is part of the Passover stuff, and he's reminding them about those laws that he made earlier on in the book. Bring the best of the first fruits of your land to the house of the Lord your God.
Yeah, and I wanted to say real quick,
go ahead,
some of that, the point of it is for them to ask. Okay. Because, like, during the Passover, it's like, hey, Dad, why are we eating this unleavened bread? And it's like, because we had to get up out of there, son. It was, like, serious business. Like, there's questions and responses.
Sometimes when you role play the people in the Bible, like, I mean, they're all hillbillies, dude. It's all.
They were, actually, every single one of them.
But they're all like Appalachian hillbillies.
Yes, but because that's God's favorite. That's God's favorite. Yeah. I tell you what, bud, we got to go.
Yeah,
we got to go.
I want to hear you try for like a Near Eastern accent.
No,
sometime. No,
I'll get canceled.
Yeah,
I can only do my people. You can only make fun of your own people.
That's true.
That's right. Can you imagine if?
I'm not
are
doing
we
it.
going to do them in a Boston accent? I mean, gotta get out of here.
No.
I mean, what are we doing? No, man.
Gotta get in the car.
Get in the car. Yeah.
bring the best of the first fruits of your land to the house of the Lord your God. Similar stuff, right?
Yeah.
You know,
and don't delay.
Yeah.
Don't put it off.
Yep.
Because God knows how we are.
Yeah.
If you leave it laying around, you're going to eat it.
Yeah.
Or you're going to do something with it. It's like, get it in there. Get to the house of God with your offering.
And here's one of the most, it seems like the most random law out there.
I can't wait.
Okay. You must not boil a young goat in its mother's milk.
Yep.
What in the world?
Yeah.
That's one that you might scratch your head about if you're reading through. It's like,
don't boil a kid in its mother's milk. Don't boil a baby goat in its mother's milk.
What in the world?
Well, it's just kind of a goober move, man.
You think that's what it is?
So you're going to take this animal's baby, milk the milk that was supposed to sustain its life, and then cook him in it? It's just like it's like that poor mama. That's awful.
You think that's what it is?
Absolutely. I think that's what it is. It's like, there's laws in here. It's like, if you come up on a bird's nest and it's got 3 eggs in there, leave an egg.
Yeah.
That's what it says. Don't take the whole egg.
Yeah.
Don't take every egg out of it.
The placing of this law is what's so bizarre.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that. Like, okay, be kind to the creation. You know,
be kind to your animals.
Yeah.
Don't be
So we were just talking about festivals.
Yeah.
And don't boil a young goat in its mother's milk. Oh, and now we're about to talk about the angel that's going with you.
Yeah.
So, but like we just like slipped in there.
God will do that.
A lot of people have wondered if it had some sort of like, like there are other Canaanite folks doing stuff like this.
Yeah.
And it was like kind of like
a magic thing or something.
It comes so like, it comes with this stuff about sacrifices and time and stuff, festivals.
Maybe. But,
I think it must be something
I don't like to do that.
Yeah.
As far as I think,
because you don't really know.
Well, you don't know.
Yeah,
and then in the Bible,
I wonder if a commentary or something has.
The Bible can tell you what it wants you to know. See, I told people this Sunday school Sunday morning. We just talked about it on here. We don't have to go there. It's as important to think about what God didn't put in as what He did.
Yeah,
like why does He go this direction? Like in first chapter of John, when Jesus is introduced to his first disciples, Nathaniel and Andrew, they say, "Hey, where are you staying?" And he says, "Come and see." He says, "Follow me." Like they're trying, and then that later they say, "Jesus is the Messiah. Come with me. I found the Messiah." And Jesus doesn't teach them in that passage, like, "Okay, guys, here's why I'm the Messiah. Here's why you should come to my house." Right?
Yeah.
I'm doing this. I'm doing that. He just said, "Come and see." So it's fun to ask yourself, well, what's the point of Jesus just saying, "Follow me, come and see"? And I think the application is for us as witnesses when people have objections, because Nathaniel does. He says, "Does anything good come out of Nazareth?" And I think it was Philip. Philip says, "Well, just come and see."
Yeah.
And that's part of the Christian walk, right? When somebody says the church is full of hypocrites, I don't want to come to your church. It's full of hypocrites. So, well, come and see.
Yeah, just come and see.
Come and see. Come and see if we are. We're not to be God's lawyers. We're His witnesses.
Yeah. So I just looked this up while you were explaining that, and it says all of the everything is guesswork. Is what the commentaries say. It's all guesswork. It's all speculation, and they kind of think it must have something. It probably has something to do with that festival.
Yeah.
And but it's like, I mean, it's all speculation.
I think it's just kindness.
Yeah.
But I don't know why it drops in there like that.
Yeah.
But the law happens like that a lot. It'll be like, don't shave your beard, don't wear 2 kinds of cotton, and don't sleep with animals.
Yeah. This guy makes no attempt to nail it down. He's like, I'm just not going to try. Yeah. He says it seems to have been a practice of Israel's neighbors, as it is suggested in a single Ugaritic text. Yeah. Here's like one example that they found. So it might look like that, but I mean, that's like,
well, see, if
how old is the Ugaritic text?
Yeah,
like
here's the other thing, man. Here's the other thing.
If
I'm there and it's 1,000 years after the Exodus, right, and there's no context, and the Ugarites are gone, right, and my son says, "Hey, Daddy," because he's a hillbilly. "Hey, Daddy, how come we don't?" You don't say Daddy, you say Daddy.
Yeah.
"Hey, Daddy, how come we don't boil a kid in its mother's milk?" And you just look at him and go, "Well, son, the Bible says don't do it."
That's it. Wait, so here's what's kind of interesting too is, people still don't do this. Like with the kosher laws, if you're Jewish, here's what this means. How their modern application of it is that they do not mix meat with dairy.
Cheese. Yeah. Bless your heart.
Man, I should sneeze. Yeah, they don't mix dairy and meat.
No, they won't slap a cheese on a cheeseburger.
Yeah, they don't eat cheese on their sandwiches.
No, man, because it's some milk and got to build a hedge around that law.
How unfortunate, man.
Yeah. That's it's like a teetotaler, except with cheese.
You can have a grilled cheese.
Yes.
You can have a
cheese sandwich.
Oh, not ham sandwich. You can have a roast beef sandwich, but you can't have cheese and roast beef.
No. It's too close to this law.
No turkey and cheese for you.
No.
Just plain turkey sandwich would be awful.
I don't even know why people eat that.
Yeah. It's good on the calories and protein.
Protein per calorie is real good.
But no flavor.
But if it's like, hey, you want this ham sandwich? You want this turkey one?
Ham.
Come on.
All day.
And all the Jewish guys are like, I guess we'll have the turkey.
Dude, ham is underrated, by the way. This is such a... I'm squirrely right now.
Well, it's because we're eating. We're on a diet already. First day, and it's like, I'm going to eat this thing. What is this? Mouse pad. I'm going to eat it.
Ham is so underrated as like a food. Dude, it is like... It's almost like a perfect like calorie food. Protein and stuff.
Yeah, that's why eating a pork chop is so good. Yeah. It's you should fast. Really, a diet is a fast. And when you do that, you start realizing how awesome food is.
Yeah, it makes you more grateful for the
Lord.
Grateful. I'm so grateful
like
to the Lord.
Tonight, when I ate my little meal tonight, I'm like, oh, thank God.
You're gonna mean it.
I'm gonna mean it.
You're gonna mean it.
Ooh.
All right, so get to this next part. This is kind of interesting. God says, "I'm going to send an angel before you to protect you on the way and bring you to the place I have prepared. Be attentive to him and listen to him. Do not defy him, because he will not forgive your acts of rebellion, for my name is in him." So, and we'll talk more about the angel, but like, what is this the pillar of fire and stuff? What do you think this thing is?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's just an angel.
It's never really talked about again.
I know it. And it says, my name is in him.
I know.
Yahweh.
I think people say it's a Christophany.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
They think this is Jesus?
Maybe.
Wow.
The angel of the Lord. Yeah. It could be the angel of the Lord.
Man, it gets weird like that, don't it?
Yeah, it does.
In the Old Testament, yeah.
Yeah.
They don't know.
I do think sometimes Jesus shows up in the Old Testament
I think so
as the
too.
angel of the Lord.
I think so too.
It doesn't make any sense otherwise. Like Jacob, I think, wrestled Jesus.
The
Jesus,
issue,
Jesus put Jacob in a hip lock and wrecked him.
Yeah. Now, that does not mean that Jesus is an angel.
No.
The issue comes from what angel means.
Yes, it can be messenger.
It can mean messenger. It's like we kind of have this expectation that there's like a taxonomy of all the spiritual creatures that you can like flip it like a Pokemon book or something. You're like, this is the cherubim, this is the seraphim, this is these angels, these are this angels, and but actually what it is angel is just like a word that humans are using back here to talk about anything they really don't know what's going on.
Yeah, angel can mean so. I think there is a taxonomy. I just don't think we know what it is.
Yes, I mean, I'm sure there's different classifications.
So like anything that came with a message from God.
They expect that in the Bible.
Yeah.
They expect the taxonomy to be somewhere in the Bible. Yeah.
Or to be specific.
Yeah.
But like, I want to unpack this.
Yeah, go ahead.
So like, an angel's anything that came from God with a message. An apostle is kind of weirdly the same thing. It means like messenger, right? Yeah. And so angel meant messenger. But when you start looking at the messengers, they're wildly different creatures.
Yeah.
Like cherubim do not look like seraphim. Yeah. Seraphim are the flaming ones.
They're like snaky and stuff.
And then the ones that are in the temple have not 2 wings, they have 6.
Yeah.
And then the thing that Ezekiel sees.
Yeah.
Wheels within wheels and eyes within eyes. It's like this crazy, scary thing. And then you have like Gabriel, who looks like a dude.
Yeah. And you have these creatures in Revelation
before
the throne.
Goodness.
Yeah,
it's like
the animal creatures.
Thing,
yeah.
Or
They're like what do they call them in the fantasy worlds? They're like chimeras or something.
Chimeras, blended creatures. Yeah, it's like head of a eagle, feet's like a lion, it's like a griffin or something. It's weird stuff.
Yeah.
Man. It's got wings.
I don't know if it's all like you. say in the Revelation at least. Hey, I'm not sure it's like you're supposed to be going full literal on that or not. I really don't know.
I don't know.
It
either.
could be.
I hope it is.
It very well
if we
could be.
get to heaven and like it's way more like Narnia and like D&D than we first thought. It's like D&D. What is that thing, dude?
I don't think there will be tieflings in D&D.
There's no tieflings,
heaven.
but there will be. Yeah. There are like winged, strange creatures that fly around and speak. Yeah, maybe it's more like Narnia.
Yeah. There's a lot of weird stuff, and and even like some of the more well known angels of the Bible, like they are different. Like Michael and Gabriel are different.
Yeah, they're just built different.
They're built different, man. The angels that are some of them, people can't tell that they're not human.
Yes,
like they just have every appearance of being human.
They can look human when they want to.
Yeah, I guess, but maybe they just always look like
maybe
that. We don't know.
But then angelology is one of the things I love the most because we know nothing.
Yeah, so you have to when you go to seminary. Okay, if you ever go to seminary, you want to or Bible college or something, you want to be a pastor, you got to go take these classes. There's one called angelology.
I never took that.
You didn't take angelology?
No,
for real?
We did not have it. Come get my diploma.
Oh my goodness!
I would have majored in that.
Well, I mean, you went to like a pretty subpar school.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, my school tried to stick with stuff that's actually in the Bible. Yeah, and so
no, that's what I was going to say. Is like it's funny. Angelology is hilarious because like the whole class, it was like it was a combo. It was of ologies. It was
demons.
No, it was Trinitarianism. It was all on like the nature, natural theology and angelology. And so there's like, a couple weeks that we spent on angelology. And here's what this is. It was a lot of, this is what the Bible describes. And what do y'all think about that? And a lot of shoulder shrugs.
Oh, absolutely.
It's all it is.
But it's like,
it's good to become familiar with it because people have these questions. And that was the point of it.
It's one of the things that makes me look forward to heaven, honestly, because there's like weird stuff that it's like, you just walked in on part of a movie and you had to leave and you don't know what happened. So it's like Michael fighting with Satan over the body of Moses and Jude.
Oh, yeah.
It's like even Michael, when he quarreled with Satan over the body of Moses, didn't dare bring a railing accusation, but said, "The Lord rebuke you." And it's like, what?
Well, can we pause the track right
what
there?
Are we doing? Or, like I said, you got these... guys, this angel, this messenger guarding the way to the Garden of Eden, and he's got a flaming sword. And it's like, what is that for? Who's he? Because we've only been around a little bit.
Yeah.
Who was he using that sword on before we got here?
Yeah.
Like, what happens if an angel hits an angel with a sword?
I don't think Adam even had a sword yet.
No. Yeah. And you get Gabriel coming to Daniel, and he said, "I was trying to come to you last week, but the prince of this nation withstood me." Yeah. And then Michael had to come save me. And it's like, was there like an angel throwdown?
Yeah.
Like, what does that
It's bizarre,
mean? What is happening?
I don't know.
And then you got
the Bible makes zero attempt to explain to you, by the way.
Not a bit.
Like, no attempt.
That's what I'm saying.
They're just dropped in there.
And God, see, I think he did it on purpose.
Yeah.
He's just giving a little teasy things like, oh, by the way, when Ezekiel saw the glory of the Lord depart the temple, there was a chariot like wheels on wheels, eyeball flaming thing that just zipped around in the sky. And then what's going on? You're like, well, I want to know more about that. He's like, no, that's not important. What's important is that the glory of the Lord departed the temple. I was like, no.
Can we please go back to the UFO?
Yeah, I want to talk about the UFO. What?
Yeah. By the way, like if you're not familiar with that reference, like pretty much every like UFO quote unquote expert or whatever, they all look at that Ezekiel passage and they're like, that was aliens.
Aliens. It was aliens.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not from Earth. They're from somewhere else.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's true. They're spiritual beings.
But they're also physical beings.
Yeah. They I don't know.
It's bizarre.
Whatever. Yeah.
They can go invisible.
Yeah.
They could be in here right now.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, there's Elijah. And him and his little servant boy is out there, and they're about to be attacked by this big old army.
Yeah.
And the servant's scared because he has common sense. And Elijah ain't scared. And he says, "Oh, Lord, open his eyes so he can see what's going on."
Yeah.
And God opens the kid's eyes, and there's like thousands of angels in the valley.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh. And then the army gets struck with blindness by these angels, and Elijah like leads them into captivity. And when they can see again, they're surrounded by Israelites.
Yeah.
And little children have angels who behold the face of God.
Yeah, they got guardian angels, I guess. I guess that's what that means.
So look, man, there's weird stuff going on we don't know about.
Yeah, that's for sure. And it's just the Bible doesn't explain it.
Not a bit.
Here's an interesting thing. With you think about like Satan. Satan is wild. Like if you're someone who's familiar with the Bible, but you might not like be well read in the scriptures.
Yeah.
Familiar with Christianity, but might not be well read. You might assume the Bible has lots to say about Satan.
Not much at all.
It's barely anything.
And actually,
in fact, the Old Testament, there's 2 references.
I know,
to Satan.
and when he
3.
is mentioned,
Yeah.
and there's a couple. It's like maybe it was him, maybe one.
Yeah.
When he is mentioned, it's even weirder than you would think.
Yeah.
Because like Job is the big one.
Yeah, Job is the most treated one.
So if you don't know, this is so weird. So we're talking about this angel that's leading the camp, right? And then he'll kill everybody if you screw up. Because angels did that.
Yeah.
They showed up and killed whole armies.
Yeah.
One angel can kill an army overnight. They get busy. In Job, it says, and the sons of God were gathered together before the throne of God, and Satan shows up. And the implication is he's one of the sons of God.
Yep.
And God talks to Satan, and he says, where have you been?
Yeah.
And he said, oh, I've just been going around the world, to and fro about it.
Yep.
And God goes, well, did you meet Job, my good buddy Job? There's nobody like him in the whole earth. He's the most righteous man in the whole wide world. Do you know about Job? And Satan hates him.
Yeah.
Like from the jump. He's like, yeah, I know about Job. But the only reason he really loves you is because you give him everything he wants.
Yeah. He's got a
You
nice
protect
life.
all his stuff. You protect his kids, and you've prospered him. But if, he didn't have that, he'd curse you to his face. To curse you to your face.
Yeah.
And God's like, okay, you can have all his stuff, but don't touch the man. And Satan is such a goober.
Yeah,
he
kills
goes
them all,
straight
man.
out and murders them
Yep.
in a heartbeat. If God said, hey, you can have Brad's kids, he would not hesitate to murder them.
Yep. He just killed him.
He'd kill them instantly.
Yeah.
So God is literally, like, God protected Job's kids, and God is protecting yours.
Yeah.
And because we know this, because if he wasn't,
Like,
they would be dead.
They'd be dead.
Satan does not land on your shoulder to whisper stuff.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah,
He
yeah.
wants to cut your heart out. He hates you.
Most of what people,
Yes.
quote unquote, know about Satan
Yeah.
comes from Dante's Inferno.
Yeah,
or
and
Divine
Tom
Comedy.
and Jerry cartoons.
Yep, Tom and Jerry cartoons. Just like Hollywood stuff. Like,
Yeah. Got a
it's not from the
pitchfork.
scriptures.
No.
Not at all.
Satan is so much worse than you think he is.
Yeah, and like, oh yeah, he's all, but also like probably not nearly as capable as you think he is.
I don't
if
know.
you're, but
Maybe.
as in like, I mean, you might forget this because like you've been in the church for so long, but like a default perception of Satan is nearly equal power to God.
Oh, okay. I see what
Okay,
you're saying.
you know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
Like nearly equal.
I view
you know?
him as a massively, maybe the second most powerful being in the world, in the universe. But
He is
that's
called
but
the
there's
Prince
levels
of the world.
Yeah, there's levels, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even though he's the most powerful, maybe created being, God is infinite. He's not. But
Yeah.
how I view it, and when you said capable, if God snapped the leash, he would burn this world in 3 seconds. We
Yeah.
would be dead.
Yeah, yeah,
The only thing that restrains him is God.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
That's what I mean.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree.
But he's not. It's not like if God and him got in a fist fight, we'd have to wonder who's going to win.
Yeah, that's right. And
God could go,
like
there would be no
Satan
Satan.
and God are fighting over you. They're
No.
like they're arguing over you. They're trying to they're at war to get you. It's like no.
No.
It's nothing like that.
No.
That's not. That's
You
not,
can't. You actually cannot sell your soul to the devil.
No,
You
no.
cannot.
That's a ridiculous. That came from a country song.
Yeah, or something.
Yeah.
Well, because here's the deal. You can't do. It wouldn't. I mean,
It's
maybe-
not in the Bible.
not in
It's
the Bible.
not there.
Well, you don't own your soul. God does.
Yeah, that's right.
You can't sell a thing you don't own. You
That's
must,
right.
and the devil can't keep them anyway.
Yeah.
He doesn't want your soul.
Yeah, so I mean, it's so funny. We're supposed to be talking about that. We just ended up talking about Satan a bunch, but it's actually probably really helpful. It's probably interesting stuff for folks.
Satan doesn't
Yeah.
want your soul.
No.
He wants you to die horribly.
He just wants you to die.
and suffer.
Yeah.
Because whatever it is in the fall, whatever it is about you that you image God, he hates it.
Well, I think it's a little more complex than that, but
Okay.
it's related to it. What is Satan's name?
Accuser.
Accuser. And what's his job in Job?
Accuse.
To accuse him. And his job in Zechariah too. When he shows him Zechariah, he's up there. He's like a lawyer, or he's like a DA.
Yeah.
He's a defense attorney, like for representing the state, right?
Yeah.
And his job is to accuse you and show how wrong you are, how
Yes.
bad you are, right? And to like maybe tempt you, get you to do bad things, and then point it out, right?
Yeah.
And something about God's mercy to people
Makes him mad.
it infuriates him.
Because he fell,
He
and
is-
there's no recourse for him.
Yeah,
And his buddies that fell.
in Hebrews, he's related to like the angel of death, right?
Yeah.
Which is like the punishment for sin.
Yeah.
Right. And so
He had the power of death, it says.
yes, and he's in charge of this world. He's like been given this authority over the world and stuff. I mean, it's a world of death. It kind of makes
But
sense.
that's another one of those
Yeah.
angel things. We really don't know
we
what that
don't know.
means.
We don't know. All I know is that when he tempts Jesus, and he offers Jesus the world
Yeah.
if he'll bow down and worship him.
Yeah.
And it seems
Shows
like,
him all the kingdoms
and
of the
it,
world.
and it seems like it's his to offer.
Yeah.
You know, because this is a world of death, right? Given over to death, and that's who Satan is. That's what he's all about. And so something about those who are given mercy from God, even though they deserve death, it makes you an enemy of Satan.
There's a lot of mistakes made about Satan, is that he's nearly an equal with God.
Yep.
Sometimes people try to make him out to be a sympathetic character.
Yeah.
He's not.
No.
Oh, he's evil.
Yeah.
He's make your hair stand up on the back of your neck evil.
Yeah.
He would kill you. He would kill your children.
In the New Testament, he's the evil one.
Yeah, the evil one. He is the lion that seeks whom he may devour.
Yeah.
Jesus, the enemy has come to steal, kill, and to destroy.
Almost everything we know about Satan comes from Jesus.
Yeah.
When Jesus shows up, he's the first one who's really talking about him.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, he's
And they've got beef.
yeah, they do. Yep, they do. They sure do. Another thing people mistake about Satan is like his backstory.
Yeah.
You know, there's like this kind of like folklore about his backstory. He was like a worship leader in heaven, and
Yeah,
it comes
he
from
was the choir director.
Yeah.
From Lucifer.
Lucifer, all that kind of stuff. Satan's name is
of
not Lucifer. Yeah.
It's George,
It's just Satan. It's just the
the
Satan.
accuser.
Yeah, it's the accuser.
But again, it's like these.
It comes from Isaiah.
It's so vague.
Yeah.
All the stuff about angels is
Yeah.
super vague.
Yeah.
Revelation. He's
Yeah.
a dragon.
Oh yeah, he's
And he
the dragon.
sweeps a third of the stars from
Yep.
the sky.
Yep.
And that's apparently the fall
Yeah.
of the angels.
And it's actually the only account of the fall, of the spiritual fall of Satan and his angelic followers that we have.
And some of them might have gotten locked up early because they were so bad, God had to get rid of them.
yeah.
And that's the whole weird thing in Peter about
Yeah.
the spirits chained
That's
until the
bizarre.
end.
Yeah. But there's two passages. There's a passage in Isaiah 14 and Ezekiel.
It says like son of the morning star or something.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. And so like I always think that it's so interesting how we've developed like the Lucifer is Satan thing.
Yeah.
It's one of the most bizarre pieces of history out there, I think. So basically, like, why do people believe that Lucifer is the name of Satan? Where does that come from?
Probably church fathers.
So way later, so much later. So what it is, there's a book, extra biblical, called The Apocalypse of Moses, or the Life of Adam and Eve. Okay, and it's a pseudepigraphal book, but it's very popular.
It means fake writing.
Fake writing, right?
Yeah.
And it was very popular a couple hundred years after the fathers and stuff. And what it does is it's the first book that attributes the snake in the garden to being Satan. Now, they were probably talking about him being Satan before already, but it's one of the first writings. And what it does is it's trying to fill in the gaps of how Satan fell.
Yeah.
And so it talks about that moment in the garden with the snake and Adam and Eve, and it uses the language from Isaiah 14 and Ezekiel or whatever to talk about it. Like I don't have it. We can pull it up. Let's pull it
Well,
up real quick.
Jesus said he saw Satan fall like lightning.
I know, and he's connecting these things in this book, right? The super
if you get right down to it while you're looking it up, the Bible doesn't even say when Satan fell.
It don't tell you nothing.
It don't tell you how he fell. The biggest we know, Satan in the garden was the snake.
Yeah.
Because Revelation says that old serpent. You know,
I think it was. I think he was. He was
he's
satanic.
definitely the snake,
or the snake works for him or something. You know, he's like on his side.
It possessed it.
He
or something.
does very Satan things. You know.
But what's weird is it says it's the wisest animal, and it can speak. The snake.
All right,
speaks.
So here it is, Isaiah 14. So the Apocalypse of Moses uses this verse to talk about what's happening in the garden and everything in the fall. He says, Isaiah 14 is about the king of Babylon. It's like an oracle against the king of Babylon. Sheol below is eager to greet your coming. In the King James, it was hell, right? Below is eager to greet your coming, stirring up the spirits of the departed for you, all the rulers of the earth, making all the kings of the nations rise from their thrones. They all respond to you, saying, you too have become as weak as we are. You've become like us. Your splendor has been brought down to Sheol, along with the music of your harps. Oh, that's why he was a worship leader in heaven.
Oh.
Maggots are spread out under you, and worms cover you. Now here we get it. Shining morning star. In Latin, it's Lucifer. The Latin word for the morning star is Lucifer. It's Venus.
Yeah.
It's the planet Venus. How you have fallen from the heavens, right? And so he's connecting this passage from Luke. You fell like lightning. You destroyer of nations, you have been cut down to the ground. You said to yourself, I will ascend to the heavens. I will set up my throne above the stars of God. I will sit on the mount of the God's assembly in the remotest parts of the north. I will ascend above the highest clouds. I will make myself like the Most High. But you will be brought down to Sheol into the deepest regions of the pit. Now, what they do is they say, well, this is Satan. This is about Satan. No, it's about the king of Babylon.
Well, I think it might be about Satan.
No.
The reason,
in what way?
because first of all, it's a poem, right?
Yeah.
And the second thing is Babylon becomes bigger than Babylon.
I mean, way later. This is Isaiah.
Yes, I know. But when Revelation talks about the horror of Babylon, and
I think
and
that's
Peter
like
says your
anachronistic,
sisters
though. Yeah.
in Babylon, but these are the New Testament guys.
I know.
They're inspired.
Yeah. But what I'm saying, though, is what is this about?
I think I think it's about both. I think it's about Satan.
Is the king of Babylon satanic?
Yes.
Probably.
Yes. So right, it's a poem.
Yeah.
And they're talking. He's
So, but here's the
something.
problem. It's not about if this is about Satan or not.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is like it's a problem of like, why do you think Lucifer's the name of Satan?
Oh no, I didn't. I'm not saying
see
that.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter if the story of every king who thought I could be as great as God, bigger than God, and it almost is. That's the story of almost every king. Is satanic like and matches his path.
Yeah.
Of course it does. But why do you think his name is Lucifer, and why do you think he was a worship leader in heaven? Well, it's because of this, right? That's what I'm saying.
It's kind of like.
So, but here's what. Let me get back to the history part. This is the most fascinating part of history and stuff about it. So, what happened in the translations of the Bible? Whenever the Bible was translated into Latin, the Vulgate. Lucifer is in the Vulgate. Okay, so it says Lucifer. How you fallen from the heavens.
Son of the morning.
Right. It just says Lucifer, right?
Light bringer.
In the Vulgate. When it's the book Adam and Eve, Life of Adam and Eve, Apocalypse of Moses, so popular, and the time of translating it out of it into like the 1500s.
Yeah, they just kept the word.
Well, or I guess the tradition of it is so popular that when they translate it into English, into German, and they hold Lucifer.
Yeah.
They just hold it as a proper name. And it's a big problem textually because there is another morning star, Lucifer, in the Vulgate.
Yeah.
And it's Jesus in Revelation 22.
Well, you know what? The same thing happens in Daniel.
Yeah. Oh, is that right?
Well, yeah, because if you are a dispensationalist, there is a place where you think, well, this guy after the 7 years is Satan.
Yeah.
But if you're a covenantalist and amillennialist, that is Jesus.
Oh, is that right? Yeah,
Yes.
that's funny.
And-
So, anyways, it's fascinating, like little historical thing. The reason everyone thinks that Lucifer is Satan is because of this random
but
weirdo book.
it's also-
that built up a tradition about that name.
It doesn't even have to be so weird. Like, it's the same thing that happened with Christmas. Like Mary riding on a donkey and the wise men showing up. The stories get conflated.
Yeah.
And nobody reads the Bible.
They don't read the Bible.
No.
They just hear the traditional story.
No.
And anyway,
But okay, last thing.
last
about
thing. Okay.
angels.
Yeah.
So weird. But there's also this tradition of like having names of demons and devils and angels and stuff.
Yeah.
Like we only get 2 or 3 if you count Satan. So you got Satan, Michael, Gabriel.
Yeah.
Other than that, is there another angel name in the Bible? And the answer is yes. There's one more, and it's Beelzebub. Who the heck is that?
Oh, most people believe that it's also Satan.
Yes, but where did that name come from?
I used to know this.
So, like, what I'm saying is these things sometimes slip into the Bible.
Yeah.
Like, they had this knowledge, and God was like, we're not going to make this part of canon. We're just going to throw this in here.
Yeah.
There was some, it's like reading Tolkien.
Yeah. What is it? The Beelzebub. Beelzebub.
I don't know, but he's got a devil put aside for me. For me.
Name, origins.
Beelzebub.
Yeah.
I used to know it.
It's Lord of the Flies. It comes from Baal.
Yeah, I thought it was from Baal.
It is. It's like
which is
the
weird
Philistine
because
god.
Baal means
Yep.
like husband.
Yeah, it's like a way to talk about like they began like after Elijah and them, they started thinking of Baal and the other gods as demons, as like this other.
I think probably were.
I mean, they are, but it's kind of like a new.
Well, that's what I was going to say
for
in
them,
this
though.
passage where Isaiah 14 is like, is it Satan or is it the king of Babylon? It kind of goes back to that Daniel spot where it's like they start talking about the prince of Babylon,
Yeah.
and he's not talking about Nebuchadnezzar.
Yeah.
He's talking about this demon that keeps Gabriel from coming.
Yeah.
And so I see that in Isaiah 14. Is it talking about the king of Babylon? Yeah, but whatever is going on in Babylon to make him so arrogant and haughty, there's a power behind the throne.
Oh yeah,
and there's something's going on.
Yeah,
here.
you just gotta be careful about where you take it. Like you want to you can't take really that passage.
And also these names, like Satan
like,
is not his name.
Yeah,
they're more like titles.
It's a title, the Satan.
Like Gabriel
Hasatan.
means warrior of God.
Yeah,
like it may not be the same one.
Yeah.
It could be a different Gabriel, a different warrior of God was sent.
We are in
but
English.
Michael seems to be pretty specific.
English, we're very keen on names. Like it's capitalized. We got like it's very obvious that this is a name. And like in Hebrew, like every name meant something, man.
Yeah.
It's like it's very.
My favorite is Mahir Shalal Hashbaz. That's a great name.
It's a different world. Different.
Here.
Yeah.
Mahir Shalal Hashbaz.
Mahir. Here.
Quick to the booty, speedy to the prey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so I don't know how we ended up on Satan. That's ridiculous.
Well,
Well, we talked about angels and stuff. That was a good little rabbit trail.
So there was a messenger of God, some kind of powerful being
running with him,
and the name of God was in him.
Yep.
Whatever that means.
Or that means. Well, I think it means what the same thing that the Lord meant in the Ten Commandments.
Yeah.
About taking the name of the Lord in vain, like representation, like this angel
ambassadors
he
talks
represents
about Christians.
me.
Christians are talked about this way. He'll place his name upon them.
Yep, that's right.
Revelation talks about they'll be sealed by his name. It'll be put in his forehead. All this stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So you got to obey him, and I will be an enemy to your enemies and a foe to your foes. My angel will go before you and bring you to the land of all the ites, and I'm going to wipe them out. He says, I'll wipe them out.
Yeah.
He says, don't bow and worship to their gods. Do not serve them. Do not imitate their practices. Instead, demolish them and smash their sacred pillars to pieces. Serve the Lord your God. He'll bless you, your bread and your water.
Yeah.
He says, I will remove illnesses from you. No woman will miscarry or be childless in your land. I will give you the full number of your days. This is Eden 4.0 or something, man.
Yeah,
it's like we're at 4.0, I think, now these days. I'll cause the people ahead of you to feel terror and will throw into confusion all the nations you come to. I'll make all your enemies turn their backs to you and retreat. I'll send hornets in front of you, and they will drive out. Like, they end up not having to do any fighting at all. Like, God just runs.
They weren't going to.
They weren't going to. This is the plan before they start sinning awful.
When they decide we're not going to go in there.
Yeah.
But you, and it's interesting when you say that. Joshua meets an angel. Remember this? He comes right before he gets to Jericho. A man comes out to meet him. Mm-hmm. It's what he thinks. And Joshua asks him, whose side are you on? Are you with us or are you with them? And the angel says, I'm not with you or with them.
Yeah.
I'm the captain of the Lord's host. And Joshua goes, oh. I better be nice to this guy.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But that changes from here to there.
It does. This is the ideal. It's not what ends up happening.
Yeah, there's a thing. So one of my professors used to talk about this in Old Testament prophecy and in the Exodus. There is the millennial machine. And by that, I don't mean the literal 1,000-year reign, but like the reinstitution of the kingdom of God, like the end.
Yeah.
And you have these moments in the Old Testament where you think that thing is fixing to crank.
Yeah.
Right? And this is one of those spots.
Oh, yeah. It's
like
about to happen.
The millennial machine.
Yeah.
God is bringing them into the kingdom. The kingdom of God's going to happen. He's going to give the land to Abraham, and Messiah's going to come to dwell with us. And so it's like, and right when that thing starts going, it's like, and it goes, oh, we're not going to go in the land. It's like, it backfires and dies.
Yeah.
And this happens over and over again. It's like, here comes King David. We're ramping it up. Oh, he slept with Bathsheba and killed that guy. Boom, boom, boom. And it's like, here's Solomon, beloved of God. Is this the one? Oh, no. He went astray and slept with, about 1,000 women or something. And then but that wasn't even what God was mad about.
Yeah.
He was mad that he bowed down to the Ashtoreth poles.
Yep.
And he said, I'm going to rip the kingdom away from you.
Yep.
In fact, it's so crazy. You think of Solomon as the wisest man ever, because the Bible says he was wise. But at the end of his life, God said, if it were not from David, I would destroy the kingdom right now.
Yeah.
But for David's sake, I'm going to wait till you die, and then I'm going to take it away from your son. Whoa.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make sure their names are so confusing, nobody will be able to tell which one's which. It's Rehoboam and Jeroboam.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why Tolkien's such a genius, because he says Sauron and Sauron, and nobody ever knows which one it is. And it feels like when you read Tolkien, though, that he was such a, I don't know why I'm going here. Mm-hmm. He did this apocryphal stuff to his own books. Yeah. And like Samwise Gamgee's name is not Samwise Gamgee. Did you know that?
Oh, I heard about that.
I
heard that recently.
It's like radical blah, blah, blah. He pretended like he translated it to English.
I know it. It's so ridiculous.
He did that stuff.
I know it. He had too much free time, dude.
He was having a good time. He was a language professor.
Yeah.
He was a genius.
So here's one interesting thing about this passage.
What?
It's kind of overlooked because of, I don't know, people just read it and they're like, okay, they're going to conquer. He says, I'll set your borders from the Red Sea to the Mediterranean Sea.
Yeah.
And from the wilderness to the Euphrates River. Oh. And you're like, okay, it's the land of Israel, whatever. No. No, it's not.
What?
It is so much bigger.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is huge. This is like the Red Sea to the Mediterranean basically chops right across next to Cairo from Egypt.
Yeah.
From there all the way up with the Euphrates includes Syria, Iraq, all Saudi Arabia.
Okay, here's what it is.
Yeah.
It is, remember I said the millennium machine's ramping back up, return to Eden. Uh-huh. This is Eden.
Yeah. It's
the size of Eden. Remember it's Gishon, the Tigris, and Euphrates. All that stuff is in Iraq and Babylon. Yeah. And what is happening here is he's saying, I'm bringing you back to Eden. Yeah. And I'm going to give you Eden back.
It's not just the little finger of land that we think of as Israel right now.
No, this was the compromised portion because they didn't go get it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. So they don't get this.
No.
What's in here is like not what they actually get.
They've never gotten it.
No, they've not.
No. By the way, Samwise Gamgee's actual name is Benazir Galbasi.
Yeah, what's Frodo's is funny sounding.
Oh, I don't know what.
Yeah, look at Frodo's. It's like funny sounding.
Benazir Galbasi is a pretty hardcore name.
He could have transliterated that. He didn't have to translate it.
Yeah, I would have followed Benazir Galbasi. Oh, man.
What, did you see it?
I'm looking. I'm waiting for it to.
Are you talking to ChatGPT?
Of course, he knows everything. Mara Labingi. It sounds like they're Italians.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Mara Labingi. It's like, it sounds kind of funny. It doesn't
His
sound
name means
very
wise
heroic.
Baggins.
Yeah.
And Samwise's name means half wise or simple.
Yeah.
He invented languages.
He did. Yeah.
Anyway. Well, what are we talking about?
That's it. We finished chapter 23. Next week, we're going to talk about the covenant ceremony, I think, and maybe the tabernacle. Yeah, the tabernacle and the covenant ceremony.
I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be great. So that
next week, we're actually going to talk about the Bible.
Yeah, and we concluded something called the Book of the Covenant during this. Okay, all those laws it's called the Book of the Covenant, and it's that was the conclusion of it. And so what happens after this is we get you get the tabernacle, and you get some narrative and stuff about what happens after. He gets the tablets and everything, which is pretty wild.
Yeah, so covenant with God, they're going to anoint the priests. They're going to Messiah.
You got to wait. You got to wait.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's next week. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Wait.
Next week, dear listener. Yeah.
Yeah, next week, dear listener. All right. Thank you all so much for listening. Give us a big deal, actually, first. Give us the big deal about the passage, because we talked a lot about Satan, and Satan has nothing to do with
this.
Yeah,
so the big deal about this passage is God cares how you fold your socks. Oh, that's the part of it.
What?
so the law, these laws, when you look at them and they fall out so randomly, it's like, what is going on? And it's like my professor used to say, it's like God sits on the edge of your bed and he's looking at everything in your life, and your socks are on the floor, and he's like, what are you going to do with those socks?
Yeah.
You must fold the socks this way and put them in this drawer. And when he's giving out the law, God is making not so many laws, because it's really not that much, but he's making enough laws that no matter what you do, you have to think about him.
Yeah.
And that's the point all the time.
Yeah.
Is you got to think about, well, how am I going to fold this? Where does it go?
Yeah. What day of the week is it?
What day of the week is it? What food can I eat? Can we eat this? Like, you catch a fish in the creek and you bring it to your dad. Like, can I eat this? He's like, well, does it got scales? Like, yeah, we can eat it. Oh, it doesn't have scales. It's a catfish. Don't think back.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
Oh no, a lizard fell in the pot and died. Can we still use this pot? And be like, well, is it a stone pot? It's like, yeah, well, no, we got to break that one.
Yeah.
Is it a metal pot? Yes. Okay, we can clean it and still use it since a lizard died in it. We can make it clean. Yeah. Like, that's the point of the law.
Yeah.
It's constant thought. Can I cut my hair? Like, which part of your hair? You can't cut your sideburns, son. Why not? Well, God said don't do that. That's it.
That's right.
And so that's the big deal about the law. The law was to teach them wisdom, and the law was to make them deeply God conscious of everything they do.
And we'll see more of that in another section of the law.
Yeah,
like, most of this is about the wisdom. The Book of Covenant is mostly about the wisdom. The cleanliness laws, what do they call it? The ceremonial laws, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the categories that we made up.
Yeah, that's totally true.
Yeah,
that's more about
the second law, Deuteronomy.
Yeah,
Leviticus. Yeah,
so we'll talk about it soon, folks. Thank you all for listening to the Big Deal Podcast.